Welcome back, guys. Reggie versus Solace, coming to you with a new video. I know it's been a hell of a long time. For those folks that still play World of Warcraft Classic TBC or TBC Classic, this is a good video. Normally, I'm known as the kind of guy that does trinket videos, and I had a big video when I started making videos a couple years back about the DarkMoon card milestone. It's still one of my most popular videos on the YouTube channel. Of course, hit the like, sub, hit the notification bell for YouTube content. You guys are still into that thing. But this week I wanted to come and talk to you about the new trinket. Of course, the DarkMoon Fair launched a few weeks back. I was able to receive the DarkMoon card Madness. Let me make sure that's got the right title. Yeah, DarkMoon card Madness in TBC Classic, and I tested it out. It tested out very well, where I have it for all three or four of my warriors. So I do have 4 warriors now. I still play the game every day. I just don't make content about it. Of course, it's a beaten game. There's more MMOs out like Lost Ark, New World, Final Fantasy, online. And most, there's been a lot of negative comments about World of Warcraft videos, of course, with Blizzard being a scum company and things like that. So, but I did want to make this video real quick. So I tested out, and I'm always finding new things about it, as I did not have it when I originally played TBC back in 2007. So let's get into it. All right. So of course, the video that we're talking about here is this card here. Should be a graphic that's coming up right there. DarkMoon card Madness. What it does is it gives you 51 passive stamina. For a warrior, it's different for each class. It's 510 HP. The equip is each time you land a killing blow on an enemy that yields experience or honor, you gain the power of madness. Now, what the power of madness is that it gives you 1 of 4 buffs for a warrior. Now, what I did do some testing on research is that it gives you different buffs for different classes. Interesting. So for the warrior, matter of fact, let me just pull up the kind of buffs right here called auras, and I want to show you what the uptime is. So the first buff it gives you, well, not first buff, it's random, right? The one that's more potent for the warrior is the delusional buff. And what the delusional buff is, I have it highlighted right here. Delusional gives you 70 attack power, really strong. Now, they did buff the quote unquote buffs for TBC Classic. There is some changes, and what they did with this buff is it used to be 30 seconds in duration, right? The strong thing about these buffs is that now they last for 1 minute. So if you get a killing blow in any type, it works in raids, it works in outside world, it works in 5-mans, which is awesome. So it's a good utility buff, but it's situational in use, right? The trinket is situational in use. So what the buff does, you get the killing blow. It's a random chance to get one of 4 buffs for a warrior. I'm only talking about the warrior perspective, and I'll tell you a little bit about that later on. So it gives you delusional buff, boom, it pops, and you have a buff that increases your attack power by 70%. You get another killing blow. That buff still remains, the delusional buff. And you get another one, which is called Martyr Complex. Remember, these are all random. Martyr Complex is 35 stamina for 1 minute. You get that buff while still having the delusional buff, which is great. So the buffs stack with each other, which is awesome. That's another good thing about the trinket. The third buff it gives you is Paranoia. What this does is give you 35 crit, which is great. If you look at your stats, some stats will give you 24 crit, some stats will give you 12 crit. This gives you 35 crit for 1 minute. The fourth, and my personal favorite, is Manic. I love when Manic pops on me. What Manic does is gives you 35 haste, right, for 1 minute, which is great. So of course we're in, I think, phase 3, if I'm not mistaken. And there's very few trinkets that give you haste. This is one of them, if probably the only, really, besides your DST, right? So this Manic gives you a quick haste buff, which is great. So I call it the mini DST. I don't have DST yet for my warriors, way down the line in TBC Classic, but there's some people that do. And for people that don't have it, this is a great way to be able to get some haste. All right, so the cool thing about this trinket is that you can have all 4 of these buffs up at once. There isn't a trinket in the game that gives you 4 buffs at one time. the key to the trinket is you have to be killing. So of course that's kind of a warrior's perspective in my book, where you want to be getting killing blows. So it works in dungeons that have enemies that you're kind of guaranteed to get the killing blow on. For higher level dungeons, raids where you might not get the killing blow, you're getting less utility from the trinket. It works great in PvP alongside your medallion trinkets, because in PvP you're getting a lot of killing blows as a warrior. So I have the buff up tremendously when I'm going into Warsong Gulch. If you get into a battle in Atarak Valley, things like that. Eye of the Storm, great to have it there, because as a warrior getting a lot of killing blows. The trinket is designed around getting killing blows, because that's what activates the buffs, and of course they also refresh on each other, which is very good. So imagine you got delusional, and that's your favorite buff that you get, 70 attack power, and you have it up. It's up for 56 seconds and it's about to drop off. You get another killing blow, boom. It has a chance of refreshing your delusional buff of your attack power buff. That's how the trinket works. So in high killing scenarios where you're getting the killing blow, if you're carrying some people and doing a normal dungeon, it's the greater chance of you getting the killing blows in those, so it's greater uptime for you to use this trinket. That's where the trinket is great at. It's great on boss fights that have ads. For example, it works in Kara if you're running Curator. You're the one killing the little sparks. The sparks count as enemies. So if you kill a spark, you get the buff. So if, in that fight where that spark is coming out every 20 or so seconds, you're getting killing blow on those, you're getting the buff uptime each time you kill that spark. So it works for bosses like that. The boss in SV, whatever that dungeon is called, Steam Vaults, there you go. In Steam Vaults, when you're fighting the Nomergan boss, where he's the Tinker and he has those little ads, it's like 20 or 30 of them. You kill each time you get a killing blow on those, you get a buff. So I did that fight where I had the buff up 100% of the time, which was great. So it works on fights where there's multiple ads. Vosh in SSC, great fight to be able to have that. You get the killing blow on the elementals, you get the buff. So any type of fight that has a lot of ads and you're getting the killing blow, you want to be using this trinket. Single target fights, you do not want to use this trinket because you're not going to have the buff up for the fight. You'll just have the static stamina. That's why it's good for PvP. 51 stamina, on par with the DarkMoon Fair trinkets. This one, of course, can give you some attack power or some crit or some haste also, along with more stamina, which is great. So I've seen some tanks use it. I've seen some DPS use it. I use it on my warriors in specific high level multiple ad fight situations. So what I did is I did a shadow labs. I did a shadow labs. So this is giving you a breakdown of me going through that whole instance. As you can see here, this is my 4th warrior. What I did on this guy is I kind of carried the fight. I was 42%, almost 43% of the total DPS for this fight. So clearly these were some undergeared players. I went in there to try to gain some rep, as I finally got exalted on this guy, my 4th warrior on the lower city. So we did that. So what I went in there, and what I was delighted to see is how the uptime on the trinket worked. For example, all right, so what I was able to average is almost 50% uptime on the buffs, which to me is great. That's amazing for this trinket, because that means that I was killing at a fast clip in that dungeon, which is awesome. Of course, I took it off for the single target bosses. The 2nd and 3rd bosses, I take it off. It's only one. It's a one ad fight. But for the trash that you're killing, the trash packs, I had this buff up tremendously, which is great. So I was surprised to see that delusional, which is of course 70 attack power. 70 attack power was up 48% of the time. Remember, all of the buffs are random, right? And they refresh each other, which is good. So it procced 31 times. All right. So the application, it was applied to me 31 times, and it refreshed 27 times. You see that? So that is awesome. It's good to be able to see all of this in your details breakdown. It applied to me 31 times. It refreshed 27 times. Awesome, right? Matter of fact, I'm going to do this. let's build this bad boy. Build a freaking a weak aura for it. That'll be great. That'll be awesome to have. Same thing with paranoia. Let's do that. Create an aura for that. And then manic. I love manic. Manic is so good. Oh, I said details. Feature disabled due to 9.0 changes. That's terrible. Oh man, that'll be really good to have. But I'm gonna still try to build that. Anyway, going back to this to finish up. Martyr Complex, which is your 35 stamina, that was up 44% of the time, which was pretty cool. Paranoia was up 41%. Manic was the least at 32%. It refreshed the least. Now these are all going to be random in your dungeon, but how to use the trinket, once again, high level killing blow situations. That's why it works so good in PvP. In this server, because we moved servers, we're now on Globulus NA. It works great on this server. There's tons of Alliance PvP. You can go in there and get your kills. High uptime. Lower level dungeons that you're farming for rep. High uptime. Just a great trinket. I love the trinket. It's like I said, especially if you don't have your DST. Of course, your DST, your madness is going to be your best trinkets. If you don't have those, or one of your alts, something like that, you can be able to get the cards cheap. Now, what I would say as far as the cards goes, always get them on off DarkMoon fair weeks. They're much cheaper. You build the trinket for under 100 gold or 150 gold, 200 gold. Of course, I paid a little bit more money because I got these right when DarkMoon fair came out. I wanted to have it to be able to test it. But man, some great uptime as far as the trinkets are concerned, which was pretty good. Yeah, so let me know what you guys think. Of course, what I was also going to say is the rogues, they get a buff called Kleptomaniac, which is agility. Warriors do not get that buff. Something critical. Shout out to my mans who was able to teach me about that buff over there. My man put it out to me that Kleptomaniac, it is a buff, and it's probably for the hunters and the rogue classes. Of course, they nerfed what agility does to a warrior in TBC. We get the crit buff, which is paranoia, which gives you 35 crit. We do not get kleptomania. That's probably going to be for the rogues, the hunters, the maybe druids that use agility more. We do not. But it's pretty cool to see that they kind of put it into the trinket that you're able to get different buffs based on your class. So once again, warriors get delusional, 70 attack power, martyr complex, 35 stamina, paranoia, 35 crit, and manic, which is 35 haste. Works very well with flurry. More uptime on that. You get the killing blow. You're able to get the trinket, the trinket buff. Band of Eternal Champion, I noticed there too. Kind of terrible, right? So this is the uptime for this one is not good. I kept this on the entire run, and you notice that it's only up for 11% of the time because it's only 10 seconds. So it only procced 23 times, which is kind of a little bit on par with these. These procced a little bit more, but of course it doesn't refresh. So kind of sucks, So there's definitely an internal cooldown on that, unfortunately. So I can see why this is kind of lower on the priority as far as your rings, which, the faction rewards are kind of stupid. You should get a best ring for faction rewards when you get into a new phase. Just my take on it, but that's what it is. But you're able to see here, very good uptime for these. Look, it's far stronger than your Fury of the Crashing Waves, which is your Tsunami Talisman, because that's only 10 seconds. So it did, for 4 minutes of the total run that you're doing, which is pretty good. 29 procs on that, so it's applied 29 times. Everything but manic was more than that. Well, not everything, but half of them was kind of more than that. The Fury of the Crashing Waves, and of course this is going to stay abyss, or second abyss until you get your madness trinket. So that's kind of the video right there, guys. Let me know what you think of the DarkMoon card Madness. I know a lot of people will kind of pass it up, and that's perfectly fine. But this thing, it works. I love it, especially for those dungeons that you're running, some heroics that you're running. As long as you're getting the killing blow, I think it'll be great for hunters because it does work. You can see it working for hunters. It's any killing blow, any killing blow. Each time you land a killing blow, so it could be ranged, it could be hunters, it could be fury warriors, it could be rogues. Anytime you land a killing blow, You get the Power Madness, which is great. Definitely worth more than the trinket, like right here, which is your DarkMoon card Maelstrom. I have this on all my warriors. I used it. A lot of people didn't. They skipped over it. This thing is better than that by far. And of course, you get some static stamina, so you can be a little bit more tankier. Works once again for warriors. And then you're getting your martyr complex, which is really good. So let me know what you guys think of the video. Subscribe to the channel, Reggie vs. Solace, and I'll check you guys next time.